hiding in a woman's back seat?
My mom still checks the back seat before getting into a car.
But just because it never happened doesn't mean it never will.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you another classic horror review. Today I'm taking a look at 1998's classic slasher Urban Legend. The film is directed by Jamie Blanks and it stars Jared Leto, Alicia Witt, Rebecca Gayheart, Michael Rosenbaum, Loretta Devine, Joshua Jackson, Tara Reid, Robert Englund and Danielle Harris. Right, so the film focuses on some kids at like a university. The students then start to suspect that the kids connected to this university are basically being killed by some killer who likes to enact urban legends, sort of thing. You know the sort of thing I mean, where, you know, someone's hiding in the backseat of your car, you know, someone's hanging from a tree and scratching on the roof. I mean, to be fair, not all of these urban legends have kind of translated over to this country, if you like. They're probably more better known in the US, but you get the idea. So this killer kind of reenacts these urban legends by killing these students. Nobody seems to understand why. They all seem to be targets for some reason, but Alicia Witt's character Natalie seems to be the main target of this. So she has to kind of team up with Jared Leto's character Paul, Rebecca Gayheart's character Brenda, in order to try and figure out who the killer is and what the killer wants with her. Right, what are my thoughts on Urban Legend? Well, 90s slashers films were literally, I mean, you couldn't basically turn your head without seeing a slasher film in the 90s, and this was all obviously due to the success of Scream. After Scream came out, literally it felt like every other film was a slasher. Some were decent, some weren't, some were fairly average. Most of them paled in comparison to Scream, but it really did start another craze of slasher films. And this was another one. This was, you could call it a fairly successful franchise. I mean, they made two more, at least I think they made two more sequels, which I haven't seen any of the sequels, if I'm being honest. My understanding is that, you know, they're not very good at all. However, I mean, I'm not here to tell you that I think this is excellent, because, to be fair, this is a very, very generic tick box exercise slasher film. The unique thing it's going for it, the unique premise, is that the killer is reenacting, as I mentioned, you know, well-known urban legends to take out their victims. And that works quite well. It makes the kills, if you like, quite inventive, quite fun to watch for the most part. And it's great to kind of have people in this, like you've got Robert Englund, for example, obviously. I mean, they throw you a few red herrings in this film. And I watched this recently with my wife, and she's, you know, she's like, oh, it has to be such and such. And I'm like, no, it's not Robert Englund's character. It can't be him. It's far too obvious. Now, well, I have seen this before. It's a long, long time ago. And I had like waves of knowledge, if you like, when I watched this. And I did actually remember who the killer was. And obviously, I'm not going to spoil that here for you if you've never seen it. It keeps the mystery going, if you like, to a decent level. The reveal of the killer is interesting. What I actually found more interesting was watching, like, you know, young actors like Jared Leto kind of learning the trade in films like this. You forget, really. I mean, when you look at him in this, he looks so fresh-faced and what have you. And, you know, I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't now, and to a large degree, but he's like transitioned into a whole new artist these days. He's very method, isn't he? Whereas he just comes across as like a good-looking teen actor in this sort of thing. As do many of them, really, and a lot of the faces here are very recognisable. As I mentioned, you've got Michael Rosenbaum, and then you've got Tara Reid, and a couple of other faces you'll probably recognise as well from the film. So, I mean, it does a good job of kind of, if you like those standard 90s slasher films, I mean, I'm calling this a slasher film. I mean, that's the genre that it's in, obviously. But, like I say, there's only really a couple of the killings where slashing is involved, really. Some of the killings are kind of different. Like I say, there's a hanging and there's other bits and pieces in the film that are different. So, it's not your typical slasher film, I suppose. It's decently made. It's got good production values going for it, and at the time, you know, the teens would have kind of ate this one up because it's very, very similar to obviously things like Scream, and like I said, we had droves of these films, you know, in the 90s and noughties sort of thing, slasher films that were trying to reenact or, you know, get some of the success that Scream got. And like I said, some of them did, you know, there was certainly this, I Know What You Did Last Summer films there. I mean, that's coming back again this year, isn't it? They're having their legacy come back, the I Know What You Did Last Summer films. So, I mean, as 90s horrors go, this one is watchable. It's interesting, but it ain't gonna rock your world or anything like that. You know what I mean? None of the characters stand out as being like incredibly memorable. I actually did quite enjoy Alicia Witt's character Natalie. I thought she was a solid final girl. I quite enjoyed the way it played around with the red herrings, in that it could be this person, it could be that person. You could almost feel like when the reveal takes place, it's a little bit of an anticlimax because it kind of offers and presents quite a few suspects in the film, really, as to who the killer is. And it's one of those films as well that unfortunately kind of struggles to live up to the opening sequence. And it's got a really strong opening sequence. It's got Brad Dourif in it as well, where you've got this young lassie pulling up to the petrol station to get some fuel on a dark, rainy night. Brad Dourif comes out looking creepy as hell. She's terrified. She thinks she's in trouble. She then runs off, sort of thing. She runs back into a car and runs off because she thinks that Brad Dourif's going to hurt her or do something to her. And as she drives off in tears, relieved because she thinks she's safe, Brad Dourif screams after her, there's somebody in the back seat. And it's a great opening to the film. And it works really quite well, in my opinion. It's one of those that really kind of struggles to live up to, but it is very, very memorable at the same time, that opening sequence. So, yeah, Urban Legend. I've not seen the sequels. Let me know if you have, if you think they're worth checking out. Beyond that, this is a watchable, if forgettable, 90s slasher that, you know, you can have a little bit of fun with if you manage to catch it on a streaming service. So thanks for checking out this classic 90s horror review. I will, of course, be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.